Stephen Key here. I'm back with my special guest, Warren Wilson, the inventor of BetterBlocks, which is quite an amazing toy because it's better blocks, basically, and those blocks come alive. But today I want to talk about the creative process. And because everybody wants to know, how did you come up with that? How do you come up with new ideas? Because I consider you a professional inventor. So what did you do? What is your method? What is your madness?
The madness. What a wonderful way to put it. Well, here's how I came up with BetterBlocks. First of all, I needed to create an idea because I was in a bit of a financial hole. So I had a need. I needed to do something. And I can remember I was at the Nuremberg Toy Fair in February. This was probably be in about 1988. It was a fair while ago. And I overheard two salesmen talking, and they said, we would love to have a block to compete with Lego. And at the time, you couldn't copy it. Like there was Lego and there was Lego and there was Lego. And I didn't think much at the time about that statement. And then I can remember I was back in Adelaide driving my car, and that statement came to me, compete with Lego. And then all of a sudden I thought, why not have a block that moves? Because what it would do, it would circumvent all Lego's patents, and I could still fit into the building block market. And I find that a lot of my ideas come from just listening and observing, and particularly solving people's problems. Like I love trying to solve people's problems.
Yeah, but why move though? I mean, why didn't you think, well, maybe electronics or maybe who knows what? But why the movement? What? Part
of it is because I just love things that move. And also one of the things I do in the creative process for me is I love observing a product. And when Lego clips together, like all your basic Lego blocks, they form straight lines and right angles. And to me, to create an idea, I always need to do, like an idea is always about doing something different. So I always look at the opposites. Well, the opposites to kind of straight lines and rigid is something that moves. And I go, oh, that'd be cool. How would I do that? And then I'll follow that track. And of course, 99 tracks of the tracks that I follow don't work. But it's doing that. It's actually in the thinking. The key for me is in the thinking, is to think of what would be the opposite to what we've got. And that just kind of sets me off on that train of thought.
Oh, nice. So you're thinking about blocks that move. And so how do you start? I mean, do you draw it, or do you just make it and play with it and throw it against the wall and get frustrated with it? I mean, what is that process next? Because it's one thing to go, hey, I'm going to do blocks that move, to really actually doing it now.
It's a combination of all those things, Stephen. But I had a small engineering shop, so I could make things. So the key to making the move was how was I going to join the blocks together so they could still be pulled apart by a child and they would move. And to be honest, that stumped me for quite a couple of months. I didn't really know how to do it. And this is what solved that problem, right? I was pulling on my pair of jeans one day and I was doing them up. And a press stud on a pair of jeans, that clip that presses together on a pair of jeans, right?
Okay.
That was the clipping system on BetterBlocks, because a press stud on a pair of jeans, you can clip together, right? And it will still rotate. And I thought, there's my blocks right under my belly button. It had been there all the time and I didn't see it. But often that's what inspires me for ideas, is to observe everything, and even seemingly unrelated things.
Okay.
And just pull them together.
Yeah, it's interesting. I tell a lot of people that creative process, trying to solve problems, sometimes you can take a technology that's over here and go, why, if I bring it over here, what can I do with it? And
absolutely.
And that was a really great example of doing that. All right, so that light goes on. Hey, I can bring it over here. So you're building the prototypes. Were they ugly prototypes? Work-like? I mean, did they look pretty? No? Yes?
Well, they worked like I wanted them to work. No, they didn't look pretty, because I had to build I built a really simple molding machine myself, injection molding machine to mold the blocks. And I built some really simple tools. But the problem was I couldn't get the colors of the plastic very good in the machine I had. So they worked, and they showed the concept, but they didn't look really pretty. But that didn't seem to be that important, to be honest.
Well, I looked at all the different designs of putting them together. Who came up with all those designs? Was that you? Once you figured it out, did you give it to kids to build all the different things? I mean, how did that all come about?
Here's let me share with you this story, right? Is that no, I didn't come up with hardly any of the models and the kits. It's like I came up with the first 6 blocks in the BetterBlocks kit. That was my idea. That was my contribution. But there was over 80 or 90 different types of blocks in the end, and they all came up, or they were all thought up by other people. Like we had them made in New Zealand. And every now and again, I'd have our manufacturer ring me up and say, "Warren, we've got this really cool plastic that glows in the dark. You've got to make your blocks out of that, right?" So there would be a whole new range. Okay. But that was how it happened. I got the initial kits out there, but all the really cool stuff was, I'd love to say it was my idea, but a lot of it was other people's ideas.
Okay. How has this impacted parents?
Wow, and this really, I'd love to share with you a story that really caught me out and made me realise why I do this. Is that Kelvin, who licensed the blocks off me, had a show in Florida. He used to hire a hall every year, and all the kids and parents would bring their models in, and we'd kind of judge them and all the rest of it, and everyone have a great time. And at the end of the show, a father came to me, sorry, not to me because I wasn't there, but to Kelvin, and he said, he said, "Thank you so much for bringing these blocks out." And he was really, his sincerity was really sincere, and Kelvin kind of was a little bit curious. And he said to this gentleman or this dad, he said, "You know, you really seem really sincere about that." He said, "You know, why did you say that?" And this father said, "It was the first time I played with my son for 4 years." And I just, like, when Kelvin shared that story, all of a sudden, it wasn't the money I made with the blocks and that, it was the fact that I'd made a difference to someone's life. And that is the power of inventions. That's the power that we all have in our own hands and minds, is to contribute to someone's life. And like, we may never know if we do it, but there's a lot of things I forget about BetterBlocks, but I don't forget that story.
No, it's a wonderful story, and I think we're going to end on that story. Warren, thank you very much for kind of giving us a look into your world and how to come up with ideas, and congratulations. It's amazing, and I do believe you're right. People that invent do it because of the love of it, and to make an impact in someone's life. And if you can experience that, you're a pretty lucky guy, and I think you're a pretty lucky guy. Right.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having this little crazy Australian inventor on your show. I really appreciate it, Stephen. Thank you.
Everybody's going to love it. So thank you, Warren. And everybody, subscribe down below. Make sure you comment. Make sure you share this with your friends. This is Stephen Key. Thanks for watching.